Have you ever felt completely and totally drained by a job that you're also deeply, deeply passionate about? You know that feeling. The exhaustion, the cynicism, the sense that you're just not effective anymore? Well, that's burnout. It's a word we throw around a lot, but it's so often misunderstood. So let's really dive in and break down what it is, where it comes from, and most importantly, how we can start to find our way back from it. And right here, this is the core paradox of burnout. You'd think it comes from jobs we hate, right? But so often it doesn't. It springs from work that is incredibly fulfilling, but also at the same time incredibly demanding. The passion that lights you up, well, that can also be the fire that completely consumes you. And if any of this is starting to sound familiar, I really want you to hear this. You are not alone, not by a long shot. Especially in our modern work culture, with lean staffing and constant pressure, feeling overwhelmed has become alarmingly normal. In fact, one poll found that a third of workers between 25 and 39 already felt burned out by their jobs. A third. Just listen to the story of Larry, a 28-year-old consultant. This guy was the textbook high achiever, pulling 60 to 80-hour work weeks. Then one day, he just collapsed. Terrible headache, heart racing. He was convinced he was having a stroke. But the doctor's diagnosis? Burnout syndrome. His body had literally, physically, shut down from years of pushing too hard. So what's really fascinating here is who burnout tends to target. It's not about being lazy or unmotivated. Nope, it's often the complete opposite. It's this trap that our most passionate, our most dedicated, and our highest achieving people fall right into. That's right, it tends to hit the best employees. The ones who are full of enthusiasm, who are the first to volunteer for new responsibilities, and for whom their job is a huge part of who they are. The very qualities that make them seem like superstars are the exact same things that make them so vulnerable. Okay, so let's get an official definition on the table. The term burnout syndrome was actually coined way back in the 1970s by a psychoanalyst named Herbert Freudenberger. He defined it as a state of mental and physical exhaustion caused by your professional life. He saw it happening to himself and to the doctors all around him, who were slowly turning into these cynical, depressive shells of their former selves. And this brings us to a really, really important distinction we have to make. Stress and burnout, they are not the same thing. Look, stress can actually be a good thing. It's a temporary adaptive process. It's our body's fight or flight response kicking into gear. But burnout? Burnout is what happens when a total breakdown occurs after you've been exposed to that stress for way too long. It's not temporary. It's a state of chronic malfunction. And that breakdown, it doesn't just happen overnight. Freudenberger and his colleague Gail North, they figured out that it's actually this gradual, sneaky process. They mapped out this 12-stage descent into burnout. Let's take a closer look at how this dangerous spiral actually begins. So phase 1 is what they call the launch. It all starts with this intense compulsion to prove yourself. Ambition turns into obsession. You work harder and harder, trying to handle everything yourself to prove you're irreplaceable. And what's the first thing to go? Self-care. Sleep, food, friends, all of it gets dismissed as an unimportant sacrifice for the job. Then comes stage separation. This is where you start to drift away from who you used to be. You might start getting physical symptoms, but you just ignore the real reason why. Your values start to shift. Suddenly, your job is the only thing that defines your self-worth. And when things feel wrong, you start blaming everyone else, your colleagues, the deadlines, anything but the changes happening inside you. In phase 3, you start losing control. You pull away from people, reducing social contact to the bare minimum. You become isolated, and the people around you, they might start noticing some pretty odd changes in your behavior. Maybe you're suddenly impatient or aggressive. This can lead to what's called depersonalization, where you feel completely detached from your own life, like you're just a robot going through the motion. And the final phase is, well, the crash. You're left with this deep, profound inner emptiness. From there, it often slides into full-blown depression, a feeling of complete hopelessness and exhaustion where the future just looks bleak. And that 12th and final stage, that's burnout syndrome itself, a total mental and physical collapse that requires immediate medical help. So as you can see, this descent has real, tangible, and honestly pretty scary consequences. Let's move on and look at exactly what burnout does to our bodies and our minds. The physical toll is just staggering. We're talking about chronic stress leading to hypertension, heart problems, and a seriously weakened immune system. You might get constant backaches, digestive issues, and your sleep can be completely destroyed. This isn't just about feeling tired. It's a deep systemic physical crisis. And believe me, it hits your mind just as hard. Cognitively, you'll see a huge increase in cynicism and that feeling of depersonalization we talked about. Your actual effectiveness at your job just plummets. It can even impair basic brain functions, like your visual attention or your ability to switch between tasks. Your whole emotional and social life just flattens out. And if you're wondering just how widespread this problem really is, well, take a look at these numbers. In the general U.S. population, almost 28% of people experience burnout symptoms. For U.S. physicians, that number jumps to nearly 38%. And for female physicians, it's a shocking 48%, almost half. It just goes to show you the people on the front lines in high-stress jobs are at the greatest risk. The impact on society as a whole is absolutely immense. In the UK alone, an estimated 17.1 million workdays are lost every single year because of work-related stress, depression, or anxiety. That's just a massive blow, not just to the economy, but to our collective well-being. Okay, wow. After all of that, it's pretty easy to feel a little bit hopeless. But I want to be very clear. There is a path back. So let's shift gears and focus on the long road to recovery, because healing is absolutely possible. But recovery isn't a quick fix. It's not a switch you just flip. This account from a Reddit user is so telling. They said the after effects of their burnout felt like PTSD, leading to serious nervousness in any office and even a deep distrust of people. It just shows you the profound psychological scars that really need time to heal. And here's another really powerful way to think about that healing process. The key is to stop focusing on the length of your recovery and instead focus on the quality of it. It's about learning to be patient with yourself and actually enjoying the small steps of getting better. You know, self-compassion is everything here. So what does that actually look like in practice? Well, here's a simple, actionable framework called the cadence approach. It's inspired by how elite athletes train. It's 4 simple steps. 1. Predict. Know what big demands are coming your way. 2. Prepare. Make small improvements in your sleep, your mental health, your energy. 3. Perform. Go execute the task. And 4, the most important one, recover. Prioritize those small moments of recovery all throughout your day. But let's be really clear about something. This isn't just an individual's problem to solve on their own. Not at all. Organizations have a massive role to play here. Things like promoting autonomy, providing enough resources, fostering a supportive environment, and minimizing how much work bleeds into home life, these are all crucial systemic changes that can stop a culture of burnout from ever taking hold. And at the end of the day, this is really the key takeaway. It's all about shifting your mindset from managing your time to managing your energy. And when we start to do that, recovery isn't just this thing you do after you collapse. It becomes a core part of how you achieve sustainable, high performance. So I'll just leave you with this one final thought. Our culture, it just relentlessly celebrates the grind, right? It rewards people for burning the candle at both ends. But what if we flip that script? What if we started rewarding the wisdom to rest, the wisdom to recover, and to prioritize well-being? Just imagine what kind of world that might create.